Looking back to my preliminary task, I've learnt so much in the progression from that to the full product that I've got now. I've learned lots of editing skills, such as how to use GarageBand effectively, how to use Adobe After Effects, Adobe Premiere Pro, Windows Movie Maker, programs such as that I've learned to use effectively in creating the connotations and to mediate characters and create meaning into the for the audience, as well as this. I've also learned how to create meaning and representations through various aspects such as camera, mise-en-scène, sound and editing, stuff like that basically. I learned how sound could create feelings of tension, suspense, sadness, happiness, joy. It can create all various connotations of feelings within our product. We've focused on creating, say, using synths to create a nice, deep, tense feel. Also, I've learned how to create continuity editing. This basically made and created connotations of something seamlessly happening, flowing from one take to the next, takes easily linking into one another. I've also learned how to use various methods of titles, creating of titles through After Effects and Premiere Pro. This also would give a clear indication to the audiences in what our film's about. So within ours, I think ours created a very clear indication. It was a thriller, a tense suspense thriller through the use of the beginning part where you see Marge presents crashing down in front of the stormy background where it's all dark, and then you kind of see a hint of hope where the font's all white and stuff like that, really. I've learnt so much to do with camera as well, such as I've learnt so many rules that you have to take into consideration, such as the 180 degree rule. That's the first thing I learnt from the preliminary task. This basically ensures that the audiences are confused from in what they're watching. There's 1 minute you might be watching a character and then it flicks to the next one that's talking, but it looks as if they're talking to themselves because they're not in the right position. But 180 degree rule keeps the eye line in contact, so the audience knows who's talking to, basically. I've also learnt throughout production lots of other rules, such as the rule of thirds, which basically you have to take into account where the main thing that you're aiming at for the camera is within a third of a grid. Yeah, so I've learnt so much. I've learned how camera shots and angles can create meanings and connotations, such as an establishing an establishing shot basically creates a great understanding to the audience of what's happening and where the action is being set. So for our instance, we had a pan from Tower Bridge, which gave the audience a clear indication of to what is happening, as well as this other camera shots and angle methods such as close-ups. We use this within our production to show characters' concentration, their state of well-being. Yeah, I've just learnt so much to do with camera shots and angles. I think that's probably one of the main aspects I've learned in how it can create connotations and representations to an audience. So, for example, power or vulnerability can be portrayed just through a high-level, low-angle shot, where it will show how a character's in a vulnerable state or at low power, whereas if there was a low-level, high-angle shot, it would show how a character's got a high sense of power. Yeah, and as well as this mise-en-scène, this vital. I've learned how this is vital in mediating the characters, so in how you want to portray them. So, for example, within art production, I've learned that I come to learn that I had to portray within our production. We had to make ensure that our characters, such as me, was wearing suits and focused on the jacket and the messenger bag to show that he was a young adult getting into work. And for example, the villains, the use of the cigarette and kind of rough trench coat showed how they were still like a middle class kind of area. I've also learned theories, lots of theories to do with media in how this helps in production. So, for example, Todorov's narrative theory. This basically is where he kind of come up with a theory as to say how a film production kind of works. Basically, you have an equilibrium where everything is how it should be at the beginning, and then you have a disruption, disequilibrium, where something happens and puts the protagonist into a bad situation. The protagonist then has to find recognition or repair the situation, and this is then followed by a new equilibrium, a new state of things, however they may be bad or good. Yeah, so with our production, we tried to change this by starting off with our protagonist being in a bad state to begin with. But yeah, I've learned theories such as that. What other theories have I learned? Vladimir Prop said come up with a theory that there's only a certain amount of characters actually within a film production, such as the protagonist, the antagonist. You have a helper, you have a donator, you have an authority figure, such as a father. You have a heroine, or something to do like that. I've also learned the binary opposition theory. This basically used to describe how each main force within the narrative has an equal force against it. So, take for instance light against dark, inside, outside. It's noisy, it's light, noisy and light. It's noisy and it's silent. Yeah, so these theories I've learned are great into getting a better understanding of how a narrative and how a film comes together, and how you can portray it and mediate it to the audience. I've also learned a lot to do with production details, what production companies have to create and bring to the audience. So, for example, they have to create logos. This is so that the company is recognisable, such as Universal. You see the globe and stuff like that. Creating of storyboards, stuff like that. Advertising, posters, creation of DVD covers. As well as that, I think overall I've just learned how in-depth and complex the creation of a film production is. Just from the outset, where you have to create a mood board, storyboards, such as the drawn one, the photo storyboard, and this is then followed by the shoot, take, obviously where everything is filmed. And after this is done, this is then this then goes to editing, and then it's finalised. Then I've just learned how in-depth production of a film is. It's just so in-depth and complex to what I originally thought, but I've learned how you go about producing a film